Hi, welcome once again. The landscape system inside of Unreal Engine 5 is a collection of tools that allow you to create expansive outdoor environments. But before we dive into creating our first landscape, let us first familiarize ourselves with some of the tools and keyboard inputs that are most commonly used to interact with the landscape system. All of the tools that are used to interact with the landscape system can be found under the landscape option that is located in the Modes drop-down menu. To enable the landscape tools, open the Modes drop-down and choose the option from the menu. The landscape tool has three modes: Manage, Sculpt, and Paint, that are accessible by clicking on their icons at the top of the landscape's toolbar window. Each mode will allow you to interact with the landscape in a different manner. Here is a very quick rundown of what each mode allows you to do. First is Manage mode. Create new landscapes and modify landscape components. Manage mode is also where you work with Landscape Copy tool to copy, paste, import, and export parts of your landscape. Next is Landscape Spline mode. Landscape splines are a flexible system for creating any linear feature that needs to conform to a landscape, and can even push and pull the terrain, to better facilitate building these features. Second is Sculpt mode. This is to modify the shape of your landscape by selecting and using specific tools. Last one is Paint mode. This is used to modify the appearance of parts of your landscape by painting textures on it, based on the layers defined in the landscape's material. Here we will discuss some of the most common keys, key combinations, and mouse buttons that are used when working with the landscape tool. CRT allows you to select landscape components. Left mouse button heightens or increases the height map or selected layer's weight. For example, in sculpting mode, this will raise the landscape height map. In paint mode, this will apply the selected material to the landscape. Shift plus left mouse button lowers or decreases the height map or selected layer's weight. For example, in sculpting mode, this will lower the landscape height map. In paint mode, this will erase the selected material that was applied to a particular section of the landscape. Ctrl plus Z undoes last action. Ctrl plus Y redoes last undone action. Now let's see how to sculpt the landscape. Sculpting the landscape is a time-consuming process. All of the tools used for sculpting can be found under the Sculpt tab in the Landscape toolbar. For ease of use, set a camera bookmark by pressing Ctrl plus 1 on the keyboard. This will set a camera bookmark which will make it easier for you to gauge how your landscape is coming along by giving you a camera view to always come back to. At any time during your editor session, if you press the 1 key, your camera will be returned to the exact same position that you set. With the bookmark set, begin painting in the larger details for hills and valleys using the Sculpt tool. You can find the brush size and strength settings that were used for this step listed below, and when completed, you should have something that looks like the following. You can change the value of the brush size and strength either in the Landscape panel or the Landscape toolbar located just above the viewport. Now select the brush, and increase the size to 8192, and strength is 0.29. Once the hills and valleys are blocked out, it is time to use the Smooth tool to help refine the look and feel of them. Using this tool will smooth your landscape features and make them seem more natural. Be careful not to smooth away all your features. You can find the brush size and strength settings that were used for this step listed below, and when completed, you should have something that looks like the following. Now select the Smooth brush, and increase the size to 2048, and strength is 0.29. Now that the landscape is smoothed out, it is time to add some flat mesa-like sections using the Flatten tool. The Flatten tool captures the height information of the location of your first click and raises or lowers the height map to meet that point as you drag around the brush. You can find the brush size and strength settings that were used for this step listed below, and when completed, you should have something that looks like the following. It is time to use the Ramp tool to add some flat ramps between the mesas. This tool works by designating a start point and an end point for your ramp, and then clicking the Add Ramp button to create a flat path between the 2 points. Each point can be moved any direction to create a ramp that fits each unique situation. You can find the brush size and strength settings that were used for this step listed below, and when completed, you should have something that looks like the following. If it is not very clear where the ramp was used, it has been highlighted in yellow. Next, we are going to add some erosion effects to the landscape to give it a weathered look using the erosion tool, which works by simulating erosion done by wind. This tool is perfect for shaving away parts of your hills to create mountain peaks and ridges. You can find the brush size and strength settings that were used for this step listed below, and when completed, you should have something that looks like the following. The hydro erosion tool is different than the erosion tool as it is for simulating how water will erode landscape details over time. To break up the surface of the landscape even more, we will use the noise tool. The noise tool adds random noise to the surface of the landscape by randomly moving the landscape vertices up or down or both at the same time. You can find the brush size and strength settings that were used for this step listed below, and when completed, you should have something that looks like the following. For the final step in the landscape sculpting part of the tutorial, we will reuse the smooth tool to help smooth out some of the more jagged areas of the landscape to give it a more natural look. While you might not need to do this step yourself, this was done to help even out some of the areas that appear too deep or areas that the player might get stuck in if they fall into. The copy-paste tool will copy the height data from one area of a landscape to another area through the use of the gizmos. This enables you to easily move parts of your landscape. Also, this enables to import the height data from an existing height map, or to export your height data to an external program, like World Machine. In this demonstration, the gizmo is manually scaled to copy a region and then pasted in another location, and then the region selection is used to paint an area. The gizmo can automatically scaled to fit so that it can be copy and pasted to another location. The gizmo is used to capture the landscape's height data that can then be copied to other parts of the landscape. This enables you to easily move parts of your landscape. In order to copy a portion of a landscape, the data for that area must be copied to a gizmo. Then, that data can later be pasted to another location. To copy a selected region, go to Sculpt mode, and then select the Region Selection Sculpting tool. Use the brush strokes to select a region of the landscape, similar to the normal painting process. Select the Copy-Paste Sculpting tool. The gizmo will become visible in the viewport. Click the Fit Gizmo to Selected Regions button to position and size the gizmo so that it encompasses all selected regions. Move, rotate, and scale the gizmo so that it encompasses the portion of the landscape you wish to copy. Click the Copy Data to Gizmo button to transfer the data for the selected region of the landscape within the gizmo's bounds. Pressing Ctrl+C performs the same function. Press the Copy Data to Gizmo button to transfer the data for the portion of the landscape within the gizmo's bounds. Pressing Ctrl+C performs the same function. Pasting data from a gizmo makes it possible to transfer parts of a landscape from one location to another. The data can either be pasted completely to create an identical feature, or it can be painted to the new location using brush strokes and strength settings to partially transfer the feature. Pressing Ctrl+V also fully pastes the data from the gizmo. The Mirror tool enables you to mirror or rotate the existing landscape heightmap geometry along the X or Y axis. In this example, the Mirror tool is used to mirror the entire landscape actor along the Y axis. Using the Mirror tool in the Landscape toolbar, in Sculpt tab, select the Mirror tool. Now let's see how to use the Mirror tool button. First, select the landscape that you want to mirror. Use the Operation drop-down selection to choose the axis and mirroring method you would like to use for your selected landscape. The directional arrow indicates which side of the landscape geometry will be mirrored on. If necessary, adjust the mirror point values for the mirror plane or left-click and drag the directional arrow on mirror plane into the position you want to mirror. Only the currently selected operation axis will be used for the mirror point. Once you are satisfied with your edits, you can hit the Apply button to see the results. You now have a landscape with mirror geometry. Hope from this video, you will start to move into building in more advanced mechanics, in an easy-to-follow step-by-step approach, which will allow you to play around and build your own content, to eventually build your own game. Thanks a lot, see you in the next video.